Within our lifetime, some of the Earth's rarest and most magnificent animals could disappear forever. Species such as the Dama Gazelle, the scimitar-horned oryx, and the Addis antelope face extinction in their native environments from poaching, habitat loss, and disease. Unfortunately, these are just a few examples of the many exotic animals considered endangered or threatened. Ranchers in Texas have long known that the dry, rugged terrain of the hill country is an ideal second home for many of the threatened species, allowing them to survive and thrive in a setting similar to where they originated. But for some, creating a menagerie of exotic animals that can only be seen in Texas is not the ultimate goal. Their mission, in conjunction with other like-minded organizations, is to help successfully reintroduce these animals to their native lands. The biggest challenge is knowing how to grow herds large enough and genetically diverse enough to repopulate their homelands. That's where science comes in. The Marani River Preserve near Uvalde, Texas, is one such organization taking the lead in these efforts. Its nonprofit arm, Stewards of Wildlife, is actively involved with the Exotic Wildlife Association, Second Arc, Bisbee Fish and Wildlife Conservation Fund, the Source Population Alliance, the Texas A&M AgriLife Research Program, and other groups in conducting scientific research that will allow the safe and humane reintroduction of animals to their native ranges.
How you doing, Cole? Good to see you. Hey, Elizabeth.
Exactly as wanted.
Yes, and they're in there right now, staged up, ready to go.
A team of wildlife biologists arrives at the Marani River Preserve to conduct the first scientific study of its kind involving Dama Gazelles, which come from the southern fringe of the Sahara Desert. The animals are guided through a series of chutes using lights and doors. Operations Manager Cole Reed explains the process.
Push them from this room back here, and they pushed them up into this drop chute. This drop chute's got a floor underneath it that kicks out. Once that floor kicks out, their feet can no longer touch the ground. And she's in this a V, so she's squeezed in there pretty good to where there's minimal chance for her to try to fight. Yeah. Dr. Arnhem, the gentleman in the cowboy hat, pulls 5 milliliters of blood out from a vein in its neck.
The blood samples are collected and sent to the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute to determine the genetic variation among the gazelles. With sufficient genetic diversity, the animals will have a better chance of surviving in their home habitats. Scientists also document the size, age, and condition of each animal.
Elizabeth's coming back in, she's going to get a horn measurement on him, what size the animal is, everything like that, so it's all important statistical information. Now Susan's coming in over the top, she's going to put a collar on it, make sure the size is right. She's going to go back and make some adjustments to that collar, make sure that everything looks like it's going to fit. There needs to be some play in them. There needs to be more play in the younger ones, obviously, because they're going to grow more during the study time than the older ones. The collars are going to be on them for a year. Those little ones could grow quite a bit in a year.
The collars allow biologists to collect information on elevation, outside temperature, and location of the animal during different seasons and different times of the day.
It just sends them a signal that says this is where they are. And they've got the GPS map of the pasture that they're going into. So when those coordinates come back, they can see where those Dama are at those time intervals. After she puts it on and it's turned on, there's somebody in the back there that's got a reader and making sure that it's actually sending the signal out before we let them go. They've got it timed for when we first let them out into the bigger pasture. It's going to be going off every 30 minutes.
Once the gazelles enter the larger pasture, their location will be checked every 3 hours for the next year. The collars are programmed to drop off after 53 weeks. The scientists then use a GPS locator to find the collars and retrieve the information on them.
In the whole of Africa, in the wild, there are only estimated to be about 300 of these animals left. It's very important to me for this project to succeed, because here's an animal that's critically endangered, that needs help, and here people who've got the animals and the space and the technology to be able to find out some of the things really needed to help this animal survive. There are lots of animals that are also endangered or critically endangered. For instance, the scimitar horned oryx was hunted out completely, simply disappeared. There were no wild scimitar horned oryx in all of Africa. It becomes more and more important that there are people like the ranchers here in Texas who are willing to have herds, breeding herds of various animals like this on their ranches. But the ranchers have put a lot of their own resources into this and a lot of their time and effort. There's no public money that comes in for this. It's not donations from outside. It's resources that people who have the ranches that have these animals put into it that keeps these animals alive and doing well here in areas that have protection, whereas in Africa sometimes they can be shot. That's it, they're gone.
These sort of programs are essential for keeping these animals alive, because people don't really care about things they don't know that exists. If people don't know that these animals are endangered, and they don't know that they're, attractive animals, that they have a role in the ecosystem, they won't save them.
The Marani River Ranch was originally created as sort of a small family operation. My father's the owner, Kevin Reed, and he really created it to be a small thing that he could bring friends and family out here and enjoy the outdoors and enjoy the wildlife and look at some animals in the meantime. It slowly started growing. We just thought it was nice to have big herds, sustainable herds. But what we found out is we're one of the few people that can actually participate in these projects. We're the stewards of the earth, and it's our responsibility as humans with higher intelligent reasoning capability to do what we can with these animals, and I'm proud and I'm excited to be a part of that.
The Marani River Preserve provides refuge for dozens of species of exotic and native animals that are threatened or endangered. The Bisbee's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Fund is proud to partner with Marani and its nonprofit arm, Stewards of Wildlife, in their mission to create multiple sustainable source populations of these animals that current and future generations can draw from to help reestablish decimated or extinct populations in their native habitats. If you would like to find out more about how to become part of this international effort to preserve some of the world's most magnificent animals, visit bisbeesconservationfund.org.